Welcome to BuildWise, the podcast where construction meets wisdom. Join us as we explore the ins and outs of the construction industry. We're going to share insightful tips, dive into the latest trends. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just getting started in your journey in construction, BuildWise is your go-to source for valuable insights. Let's build a smarter, wiser future together. Like and subscribe now. Stay tuned for a foundation of knowledge in every episode. I am your host, Dan O'Neill, and today we're going to be talking about negativity.
Okay. I'll let you take take the mic.
Well, I mean, we got a couple of negative reviews.
Yeah.
Only 44 views, but 2 were negative.
Well, I just want to clarify. I didn't get any negative reviews.
It's coming. Your day's coming.
No, because I'm a ray of sunshine.
Yes, you are. Very, very, very nice. But no, we did. We got some couple negative reviews. They said we were being too negative about the industry. Wah, put on your big boy pants. We're okay. So that's not entirely true, by the way. We actually have a lot of episodes where we're fun, lighthearted. But when you do discuss issues that are negative, I mean, because the industry has a lot of faults in it. In no matter what state you're in.
Yeah.
So it's not just an Idaho issue. It seems to be a little more prevalent here because, and it's for a very good reason. Any Tom, Dick, and Harry that swings a hammer can walk down and go get a registration. Mm-hmm. Now, in California, where they're pretty strict, any Tom, Dick, and Harry can take the cheat test, whatever you want to call it, and go get their license. But usually to go through all that headache and trouble, for whatever reason, there seems to be a little more professionalism. But then you got your bad guys too. I mean, they got a whole contractors board that runs around and, and catches bad guys.
Yeah. But okay, so to that point, there is a major fallback on skilled labor. So I think that's what we're seeing because when, like, as we've pointed out in other episodes, when the crash happened in 2008 and a little bit before, the industry started to see more skilled laborers leave the industry and then nobody to teach the new people how to do and run things properly. So that's where our
Yeah, there might be some truth to that. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of a weird conundrum.
Well, there is truth to that because, I mean, the statistics show, and then obviously you're seeing.
What
didn't you say?
What are you quoting? Be specific.
Well, I don't have my notes sitting here right in front of me, but if you go back on the episodes, that we did before, I cited them, and there's just been a major fall in skilled labor, and I think you can even attest to that. That you used to be working with guys that knew what they were doing, and now you feel that you're not working with people that really know what they're doing anymore.
Well, and that's true. I mean, we did do one of our, I can't remember which episode it was, but we had talked about that a little bit. And I think I told you that back in around 2008 or 9, I started noticing that trend because there's a big push for everyone to go to college and not do trade stuff. Mm-hmm. In fact, Tim Allen, Mike Rowe, they all talk about that kind of stuff, especially Mike Rowe. It's like he talks about that a lot. Like, everyone gave up their trade-specific stuff to go to get a $100,000 degree, and then the trades are making more money per hour than they are getting out of college, and they got a $100,000 debt to pay back.
Right. Yeah, no, I think that there's some truth to that.
All right, so how do we solve the problem so we're not so negative?
Well, I mean, that kind of criticism is good criticism. You need constructive criticism. So it's not that it's bad. I think that what they're saying is, hey, what are some solutions? Okay, we can point out the problems. What are the problems? I mean, we have unskilled laborers and, a lot of industry failures. And so you having so many years experience, all the white hair shows.
That's called stress.
you can provide some valuable insight into, okay, this is what used to work. We're not really doing that anymore. We either need to go back to that, or we need to figure out a way as an industry and as a whole to make it better.
Well, so, I guess it comes down to training, right? So let's just say you got people. So I was told once, there's willingness and capacity. And so you might have someone that has the willingness but doesn't have the capacity to learn. That's out, right? And then you might have someone that has the capacity but not the willingness. That's out. You need both. You need both. So let's just say you take someone that's not very well skilled at the moment and you train them up. That's hard for a small company. It costs a lot of money. Yet they do costly mistakes sometimes.
Yeah.
However, there are places like the AGC and other things where you can take training, and they put on seminars and training courses and different things all the time.
Yeah.
And then to, I guess, take someone that's got that willingness and capacity and take them under your wing and mentor them. So I think in this new age of industry, I think each company should have a mentorship program.
Do you have a mentorship program?
No, but I'm going to make one.
Well, there you go. Look at that negative comment sparked new ideas. Innovative. Huh.
I know. I was being facetious but
No, I know. I just, I do think that there's a lot to learn from obviously positive feedback, but you actually learn way more from negative feedback. You do.
I don't know. It hurts my feelings.
Apparently, you little snowflake.
Oh my gosh. So anyways, I think that, I think those are definitely industry problems. And there should be more places like that. And when we get done with this podcast, I'm going to look up some stuff.
Okay.
Because it's, now that I'm thinking about it, it's going to be interesting to see how easy it is to find something. So maybe that's a problem. Maybe there's not enough things out there.
Yeah.
Or maybe they're out there and nobody wants to do them, or maybe they're too expensive.
I wanted to point out one thing about Idaho specifically, because one of the comments was that we're just kind of harping on Idaho a bit. I don't think it's necessarily that it's not to come and harp on Idaho. Idaho is a great state. I think that they just have such an influx of people coming into the state, and now they're having to work, the construction industry is building so much. And so, I mean, things happen, mistakes happen, or, there's issues that kind of arise when it's too fast, too quick.
I left some pretty big projects and ran, of course they were, if I'm really going to be honest about it, they were high-end commercial, $30 million project kind of things. And so there was a different level of expectation, I think. And
that could be a big part of it.
So if I'm going to be honest about it, if I look back at some of the smaller projects, they are ran a little more loose. You are going to run into those non-sophisticated subs even there. I feel like here, I run into it a lot more. And not just in a little way. Like, I've had just the most ridiculous things that have happened. Framer using the wrong nails. It says in big, bold letters, 10-penny common. He didn't know how to cross-reference a hand nail to a gun nail. So he shears this whole thing and he uses the wrong nails. And then tries to swear by it. Comes down to, it's not that he's a bad guy. It's a lack of sophistication. Problem with him is, I have a funny feeling tomorrow he'll go do the same thing. It's like I don't feel like they're learning any. It's one thing to go through that experience together and they learn something. And that's another thing when they just keep repeating the same thing over and over and over and over again.
Well, yeah.
And that to me,
with life in general.
If you take someone like that and then they, like, oh, got through that one, never do that again. And then tomorrow they do the same thing, which they have done. You're going, dude, why did I even waste my time?
Yeah. Well,
So
old
mentoring
habits die
only
hard.
works if your willingness is there, and that's just it. And you got to have the capacity for it. And I have found a couple of new younger guys, and I believe one of them watches this podcast, and he's he's learning stuff from it. So we want it to be educational. There are some negative topics to talk about, and that's the idea of the podcast, is to bring those to light. So hopefully, when you see them out there, or another trade sees them, or a client sees them, that they can call it out and say, hey, I just saw that, and that's not a good way to do that, or that's not how you should be doing it. And that we're not just accepting the status quo.
Right.
One of the biggest things I got told when I got here, oh, that's just how we do it in Idaho. And it's like, well, you've been doing it wrong.
Yeah. Well, that's to my point. Like,
And it's not different. It's wrong.
Well, that's to my point, is like maybe because they haven't had as many people flooding into the state prior, they've been doing things a certain way, and so they feel as though what they're doing is correct. And so it just takes some people coming in and really reshifting their mindset and showing them the correct way. So,
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, if you don't know any different, then you can't really blame the person. But when you start going in and teaching them, like, hey, this is actually a better way, or a more sophisticated way, or safer way, or whatever, then then they can really learn.
There's a little more. I'm finding that, and I've tried to take time to talk to people and to say that's not a good way to do it, but then I get the pushback that this is how we've always done it, and to the point where we've had subcontractors that won't work with us because I'm like calling them out on, their rebar spacing, or their the way they're doing something, and they just get all like, well, this way we've been doing it. We're not. No one's going to work with you if you keep being a hard nose like that. And it's like, well, you're doing it wrong. You're not even following the plan.
Yeah. Well,
And so when you run into those instances, and if they were to go, oh man, dude, thanks so much for pointing that out, let me fix that, that's a whole different conversation.
that sounds like a generation, like your generation. They're just so hard-headed.
It's that they've been doing it wrong for so long, they think it's right.
You
and
got
it's
to
not,
take the young guys willing to.
well, well, hold on. So let's back it up even more. So let's go to what I found is that before, there was very little on a plan for, like, say, a house. Mm-hmm. It's pretty much, I'm pretty sure at one point in time it was draw it on a napkin and get it approved and go do it, right? Mm. But as plans are getting, like, as there's a bigger influx of people, and the sophistication level is starting to tick up because your plans are becoming more
Complex.
more and more complete, more complex. And it takes somebody to, you got to grow with it. What's happening is everyone's still stagnant over here, and they're not growing with it. And I shouldn't say everyone, a bunch of people, a bunch of subs. The problems that we've ran into isn't that it's not on the plans. It's that they either read it and ignored it, or they don't even know what they're reading, or they can't read it.
Well, okay, so
I've had a few people that can't read it.
Well, they're complicated. Like, you've sat and showed me plans and gone through them, and I'm like, okay, I mean,
they're cartoons. They're drawn. They're
They
drawn for knuckle draggers.
They are to you because you've been looking at them for decades. But and you've grown with them. You have grown and adapted to the changes as they've happened. Where people coming in are going to look, when I look at them, I go, oh gosh, that's overwhelming. So I could imagine if somebody new is coming into the industry, they're looking at that going, that's really overwhelming. I'm going to need some guidance on this. It's not just cut and paste, super simple.
When you're in a set of house plans, I mean, I guess it also comes down to, you got to know construction protocols. And there is such a thing as that. Like what I found on one project is the guy goes, well, I only look at the foundation page. But there's a whole set of structural drawings. Well, construction protocol tells you structural always takes precedence over architectural. Mm-hmm. And then there's a lot of things that tie to that, which could be a SOLS report or a structural engineering calculation, or, some sort of specific thing. There could be a shop drawing. I mean, there's all kinds of things. And, knowing what the differences are. But that's the sophistication level that I'm saying is missing. But that's probably missing everywhere when you're going from little projects to big projects. And that's why on bigger projects, superintendents and subs and the pay scale is probably higher than someone, wrenching on a house somewhere.
Yeah.
So it's, yeah.
Did you lose your point?
I think I made my points. Now I'm talking in circles.
Your train of thought. Well, I mean, any other final thoughts? I have something that's totally unrelated.
Oh, you always do.
Well, I think it'd be kind of funny. A square is not a square; it's a triangle. And men, whoever named it a square, is dumb. That's my
What do
opinion.
you mean a square is not a square?
Your guys' little tool that's a triangle, and you call it a square? I don't know. It's like you guys need to go back to school and learn geometry.
Maybe because it makes a square corner.
But yeah, I know. I totally understand. I totally get it. But it's still a triangle. It's a 90-degree triangle.
All right. You go out to the job and go, hey, will you give me the triangle?
It's a triangle. The only reason why you can't say that is because now in the industry they know that a triangle is or a square is a triangle, or however you would. No, now I'm getting confused. It's just dumb.
See,
if you just call it what it is, it's a triangle.
You're such a square.
No, you're the square because
What's the difference between
Makes no
plumb?
sense.
What's the difference between plumb and level?
I don't know. I don't build. I build websites, not
Plumb Bob Squarepants.
plumb. Is that really the joke?
No.
Oh, it's like that's terrible.
Plumb is vertical, levels horizontal.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah. But why do they call it plum?
I don't know. Maybe the guy was eating a plum when he did it.
I'd love to come up with terms. I would love it. I'd love to come up with street names,
Probably because
terms.
back in the day, they used a thing called a plumb bob. And I don't think it looks like a plum, tell you the truth, but maybe.
See, it's not a square. It's a triangle, but apparently, in the industry, if it doesn't look like it, just give it a different name.
I think somebody back a long time ago, give me that thingamajigger, plumb bob thing.
Sure. It's like, hey, give me, if it's a ruler, hey, give me that, it's straight. Give me that curvy thing.
No,
I'm telling you, everything is backwards.
No, it's not.
Yeah, give me that
You're
thing.
such a dork.
Because we're going to make, you know why? Because if you do so many straight lines at various angles, you can make it curve. That's, I swear, like construction logic. Just saying. It's not a square, it's a triangle.
Okay. Are you done now?
Yeah, that's my rant. I just think that's the dumbest thing.
Maybe we should do a whole thing on like different terminology things.
Sure. I'm sure there's tons. Like you just said, a plumb bob. And you said it, and you yourself said it doesn't even look like a plum.
Yeah, it's more like a teardrop.
Why not call it a teardrop?
I don't know. Maybe plumb bob sounded better. Anyways, all right. Are we done?
Yeah.
All right, everybody. If you haven't already, like and subscribe. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye. A plumb bob.